radio show on about 300 stations across North America, and we have a listening audience of about 1.5 million people, and we're growing. This is the Ground Zero Lounge. It's where the paranormal and the parapolitical collide. Clyde's been doing this for several years now. He did it at Dante's for a number of years, and several months ago he started it back up here at the Paradise Sports Bar. Thanks to Steve and everyone. Thank you very much. We have a couple of events besides the Ground Zero Lounge this month. We also have the Krampus Party, and that's our annual party over at Renner's Bar and Grill. That's located in Multnomah Village. That happens next Saturday, December 10th at 7 p.m. So there's going to be some really good German food. There's going to be a ghost hunt conducted by Roger Gluten in Northwest Ghost Recon. There'll be creepy dolls and more Ground Zero merchandise. So hopefully you can come to that as well. And then also we have the Santa Clyde at the Ground Zero store, which is also in Multnomah Village. And that's our store is actually located right where the Coin Cottage is on Troy Street. So that's December 17th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Okay, so at this time I would like to introduce to you Clyde Lewis.
Thank you, Ron. Ooh, hello. Let's get used to the loudness here. Pull it away just a bit. Okay. Now we've freaked everybody out. It's time to get serious. Thank you all for coming out tonight. I really appreciate it. We like the fact we packed the bar and everybody has a lot of fun at the Ground Zero Lounge. It's kind of like the Christmas version, I guess. You know, I'm not used to it yet. I'm not used to Christmas yet. I mean, I don't know about you, but you know, I'm still trying to get over Halloween. And I'm a slow guy. I get over Halloween, and then of course the turkey happens, and you know the pumpkin doesn't even have frost on it yet. We're already talking about Christmas and Santa Claus and the war on Christmas, which is a bunch of bullshit. And I just, you know, every time I hear about this war on Christmas, did you see how everybody overreacted to? Speaking of which, I'm drinking Starbucks. Did anybody see how everybody overreacted to the Starbucks cups, the green ones that came out? They're all freaking out going, oh my God, it's so secular. They hate us. They hate Christmas. They hate Christians. Just calm down, you know? Calm down, please. I mean, I always tell people, you know, there's a war on Christmas when they don't give you that weekend off, okay? The minute they tell you you don't have that weekend off, then by damn, there's a war on Christmas and I'm gonna fight for my weekend off, damn it. That's what I'm gonna do. I mean, it's like, they don't give Ramadan off to the Muslims and they don't give Hanukkah off to the Jews. But we get our time off because, you know, there's a war on Christmas. That doesn't make any sense to me. And you know, people, you know, I don't know anybody that gets offended. If they get offended by saying happy holidays, they're just trying to cover their ass is what they're doing. You say happy holidays so you cover your ass. If you say Merry Christmas, I don't think they mind either. I don't think anybody's gonna say, Merry Christmas, I'm a Jew. They don't do that. They go, well, thank you. Happy Hanukkah or whatever. And I just think that that's just one more way to be antagonistic at this time of year. And it's and you know, people are fighting politically. They're fighting you know, on other reasons, for other reasons. And it's like, you know, when can we just stop the fighting? When can we stop the bickering? And when can we stop? You know, when can we start a dialogue, talk about things that are important? And what I mean by this is, you know, I'm thinking that after all of the homogenized pap we were getting during the election season, I think it's about time we should start talking some serious dialogue, or starting some serious dialogue about our future. I mean, to be honest, you know, 2017 is coming, and it's coming like a landslide, and we're still trying to figure out why Hillary Clinton lost the election. Doesn't make any sense to me. And people are still whining about it, and still worried about it, and they're still zombieing around about it, and we're still waiting for, you know, the inauguration day where all hell's gonna break loose again. And I shake my head, and it's not because I'm saying, hey, you know, get over it, you know, Trump. I mean, that's kind of insensitive. Get over it. No, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say get over it. What I am gonna say is, though, is get used to it. It's not a matter of getting over it, it's a matter of getting used to it. This is where we are now. Get used to it. Okay? This is business as usual in the apocalypse, and business is usually good during an apocalypse. It happens. And people are going to make a lot of money with innovations that are going to basically put you out of work or put you in a position where you're going to have to relearn what you've learned. I mean, education at the moment is not doing its part. Okay, it's not teaching older people how to deal with the innovations that are coming our way. It's just not. And I was really concerned because I think what we're seeing, and it just seems to me that when I go over all the news notes for the next year, and then for the next 2 years, all I'm seeing is AI, artificial intelligence, space war, space fences, space age, futuristic intelligences being monitored, full-scale spectrum dominance. This is what you're going to be facing in the next year and a half, 2 years. I mean, apart from the fact that they can clone now, and apart from the fact that they can basically take your DNA, cut certain pieces off of it, and then you can look better or feel better. They're not going to allow that yet here in the United States, but in China, they're doing it left and right. They're making new people. They're making H+ people. They're making the transhumanistic people, the super people. Back in the day, we were speculating whether or not they already did it for the Olympics, but hey, you can speculate now that they've already done it, and it's happening now. Our innovations, as great as they are, as remarkable as they are, I think that they're ignoring talking about them because of future shock. I think that they're distracting us from this because of future shock. And I don't know, but lately I've been feeling a little alienated at the fact that whenever I watch the news, whenever I look at the news, whenever I look at CNN or Fox or MSNBC or any of the networks, they no longer report news. They're not like the Hollywood Reporter of politics. That's all it is. You know, so-and-so says something, you know, Trump makes a phone call to Pakistan and it's undiplomatic, or he makes a phone call to Taiwan, it's undiplomatic, and they all laugh at it, and they're using all of this double-think newspeak. Like, for example, it's no longer America, it's Trump's America. No, it's not. It's our America. Trump just happened to be stumbling into our presidency, and that's how we got there. But they're calling it Trump's America because that means that separates them from being a part of Trump's America. That is Orwellian doublespeak. It's Orwellian newspeak. It gets you to think again and second guess yourself, just like this whole fake news conspiracy. And I know that, you know, people write me and they say, this fake news conspiracy is not that important. Well, yeah, it is. Because here's the deal. I'll tell you why it's important. Because people like me who report things that are not necessarily going along with all the other reporters get singled out. And if we're singled out enough, we lose money. And if we lose money, there's no more shows. I have been singled out before, and I was called on the carpet before for something I said. And people always say, well, don't give up, keep saying it. Well, yeah, okay, I'll keep saying it. But usually I say things, and I keep saying them until I've said enough. And by that time they contact me and they say, hey, you know, you said too much. And I'll say, well, you know what? Okay, and I won't talk anymore. But then you have people out there that are so indignant going, well, you know, if you were worth your weight in gold, you wouldn't sit there and answer to handlers. I don't answer to anybody. But you know what? I'm not going to die. I'm not going to die if I'm going to continue to get, you know, lambasted and told that what I'm saying is going to get me killed and my family killed. That's stupid. I mean, there's some things that you pick your battles for. I mean, if you really, 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 really want to fight for something, I will. I mean, if I feel that it needs to be said. But, you know, you get people all the time thinking that you're ignoring a story because, you know, you're being told to ignore it. No, I'm not ignoring stories. And the example I have is something called Pizzagate. How many people have heard of Pizzagate by applause? Anyone? No one? A few of you have, yeah. I'm not ignoring Pizzagate. I'm just not. Truth is, and I tell everybody this, for those of you who know what Pizzagate is, Pizzagate is this story that's been floating around 4chan about the Podesta brothers, Hillary Clinton and the gang, all being nothing more than child traffickers, and that eating pizza is a code word for basically rogering young boys or harming young girls. The thing is, while I know that I have done stories in the past about this type of stuff. I have. I've talked about this. And I did a show about the Franklin cover-up where in the Bush administration this was going on, where boys were called in, they called them call boys, and they had a sex scandal there at Bush White House. And this was before the internet, and I talked about it. I had a guy on my show, his name was Dave Schurter, and he basically let loose on the air. And he said some things that were really offensive about what was going on behind the scenes. And then, of course, I did the Tiffany Jenks show about this Portland woman, or this Oregon woman that was killed, and her boyfriend had basically said that he felt that she was taken out by these traffickers and these programmers and these people. And so it was enough to tell you that, yes, this was going on, and people were very dismayed at what I was saying. They were very discouraged by what I was saying, and they really thought the shows were a little too much, a little too harsh. And then came the spirit cooking stories about the get-togethers where they're basically doing these occult rituals that were basically first proposed by Aleister Crowley. Well, here's the deal. We talked about these things, and we were revealing these things. And then when it finally made it to the mainstream, when it was finally said that, yeah, they're doing this spirit cooking stuff, he never really went to the get-together, but he was invited, okay? And I don't think that was enough. We got to go one step more and basically come right out and say that this is happening and say we have evidence when there is no evidence. That's how crazy this is. Look, if I was to just come on speculation and say this is happening, we know what's happening. But can we actually frame people in this thing? No, we cannot. Do we have evidence? Well, we have testimony. We have background evidence going all the way back to the Bush White House that this has been happening, okay? So I have already covered this. I've already talked about it. And so please, if you're going to continue to send me these reports saying, Clyde, you're not covering it, and we know that you're ignoring this because you're afraid to take it. No, I'm not ignoring anything. I talked about it 3 times. I just didn't call it Pizzagate. Pizzagate is a creation of the internet, and Pizzagate could very well get you now to do a fake news scandal, which I don't want to do. And until it can be proven definitely that this is happening, if we can get the pictures of them together, I mean, you know, this stuff goes on behind the scenes all the time. I was just, actually there's a new video that was put out by Britney Spears, and I don't remember the name of the song, but she was very proud of the fact that in the video they were doing something that was an eyes wide shut ritual type thing in the video. And I'm thinking, boy, doesn't this speak volumes? I mean, here we have Britney Spears, who everybody thinks she's a mind-controlled slave anyway, doing this ritualistic type video where she's, you know, being manipulated and being actually run through this eyes wide shut sexual orientation type thing. I mean, if you read between the lines and if you're vigilant, then maybe you'll figure things out. But I mean, you don't have to go and drag people through the horrible treachery that we already know exists. So yes, it exists. Yes, I've talked about it. Yes, I've revealed a lot. But no, I'm not going to keep kicking a dead horse because, you know, even though you may find it to be pornographic and tantalizing to talk about, you're not going to do a damn thing about it. Because I've already talked about it like 2 or 3 shows ago, and what was done? Nothing. Nothing. And you know, the minute you bring stuff like that up, it's immediately dismissed, and you're the pooper of the party. You know? I mean, so what's going on, Clyde, in the conspiracy world? Well, of course, the politicians are all basically taking children and raping them. Boy, aren't you a downer? Yeah, well, you know how it goes. That's the way of the world. I want you to know that, yes, I know that these things are being talked about. And yes, I know that this would be the area to discuss it. But what needs to be discussed, what needs to be revealed is the fact that while it's tantalizing to actually indulge in discussions on the internet like this, it's not good for journalistic integrity to basically say something that you really don't have any real proof to, you know, cause an indictment. If you think you have enough proof, go to the grand jury. If you think you have enough proof to push this, you know, take somebody up on it and indict these people. But that's just it. It's just convention on the internet. It's basically everybody feels they're in on the secrets and big things are being planned. But you know, if I think that something should be said, I most definitely will say it. I'll go on the air and do it. In fact, I already had the name of the show in hand. I was going to call it Pizza Hunch. Instead of Pizza Gate, Pizza Hunch. I already have the title figured out. I knew exactly what I was going to say and what I was going to do, but I didn't. And I'm still holding out for it. I may still do it. I may still say, hey, one day I'll wake up and I'll go, you know, I'm going to do this. No one tells me what to do. I do what I do. I talk what I talk about because I feel that you need to hear it. Just like right now, I'm talking about it, even though I said I wouldn't talk about it. I'm talking about it, right? Because nobody tells me what to say. Nobody tells me what to do.
Who pay you?
Who pay you? Exactly. Nobody pay me. Nobody pay me. I mean, if I don't have my books, if I don't have my T-shirts, if I don't have longevity, I mean, I get a measly paycheck, and that's about all I get. I mean, I'm not one of those, wealthy answering to interests, other interests than the ones I have for my audience and the ones I have for all of you, because it's your support that keeps me alive. It's your support that literally kept me alive when I was dying. It literally kept me alive when I was struggling, when I was crawling my way back into good health. And as I'm doing now, crawling my way back into good health. And doing so, using things like longevity, using things like that where, people say, it's just an infomercial. You know what? It works for me. It works for me, and I promise you that it'll work for you if you work it. And it's not like I'm giving it a plug now because I want you to buy it, but hell, whatever. It's Christmas. Do what you want. I'm not going to go there, twist your arm and say, buy things. Buy me something. That's what kids say when they're at the Walmart. Buy me something. Buy me something. No, that's okay. I'll wait. I'll wait. We're not going to buy anything today, kids. It's all going to be a nice and quiet Christmas. Speaking of Christmas, I was having a discussion with my wife today. We were, what did we do today? We went to breakfast. And it's funny, lately, me and her were like, she and I were like, at Thanksgiving we did this. We went to breakfast, we came home, the turkey was done. And so we said, well, what do we do now? Eat. So we ate after the turkey was done. Okay. Today we woke up and we got a late start. And I took her out to breakfast and we were having coffee and talking, and so we were both feeling a little tired and out of it after having breakfast, and we were kind of goofing around, and all of a sudden I said to her, we both looked at each other and said, we should go for ice cream. I don't know why we went for ice cream. We went for ice cream. One Banana Royales at Baskin Robbins. I hadn't had ice cream in forever. That's why I'm losing weight, because I lost like 128 pounds because I don't eat ice cream. So I figured, okay, I'm gonna have some ice cream. It's the weekend, I'm gonna have some ice cream. I'm not gonna indulge too much. I'm just gonna have a little bit of ice cream. So we went there. And so we're sitting there and we're listening, and Christmas music was being played on the intercom system. I hate Christmas music. Applaud if you hate Christmas. I hate Christmas music. You know why I hate Christmas music? Either you're going to do Jesus or you're not going to do Jesus. No more of this Frosty the Snowman bullshit. I'm tired of the snowflakes. I'm tired of the weather outside, it's frightful, or baby, it's cold outside. Start singing some Jesus. That's what Christmas is, right? And even then, you don't need to sing Jesus because it's not really about Jesus. It's about the Yule logs and the Christmas trees and Santa Claus. And so we're listening, and all of a sudden we hear, you better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. And all of a sudden, he's making a list, he's checking it twice, he's gonna find out if you're naughty or nice. He sees you when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake, he knows if you've been bad or good. And we all of a sudden went, my God, Santa Claus is part of the surveillance state. We actually looked at each other and said, man, that whole time we've been conditioned to think that Santa Claus is part of the surveillance apparatus. He sees us when we're sleeping, he knows when we're awake, he knows when we're doing funny things with our bodies. That's why kids shouldn't do that, because Santa Claus sees you. Naughty, naughty. But we were laughing, and I was kind of thinking to myself, that's something that we really need to think about, is that, Santa Claus is kind of like an icon for the surveillance state if he watches us all the time. He's an icon for Big Brother. He's an icon for what we're all used to anyway. We've been conditioned into thinking that, everybody's going to watch us, we're going to be self-policing, that we're going to be educated, and some of us are going to be detained, some of us are going to be watched. But this is the way the world is now. It's not get over it, it's get used to it. Get used to 2017, because 2017 is going to be that get used to it type feeling. Get used to the fact that people are not going to pay attention to the real issues. Get used to the fact that people are still going to continue to believe that their politicians are going to save them. They're going to continue to create these external messiahs that within 6 months are going to basically piss everybody off. I mean, give Donald Trump 6 months and everybody's going to hate his guts again. Even worse than they already did. So they did with Barack Obama. I said it was going to happen with Barack Obama. It took 9 months, not 6 months. It took 9 months. And we were already going, God, man, this guy sucks. Because the thing is that no one politician is going to satiate this country and its problems. Not one politician is going to save a whole country. Oh, no, Clyde. Oh, no, you're wrong. You know, get over it. No, I get told that all the time. When you try to give them a little reality, people don't want you to take a big old crap on their parade. But you know, it's human nature. So it's not about getting over it, it's about getting used to it. Get used to apocalyptic thinking. Get used to the idea that a robot's going to replace you at work. That's another thing, is that I still, and I will continue to say this, one of the biggest issues that they avoided during this election was the robot rebellion. And I know I sound crazy for bringing it up, but you know, when you have driverless cars, when you have driverless trucks, when you have driverless buses and driverless trains, the transportation industry is going to have a lot of people losing their jobs. When Amazon happens to have robots doing all of their shipping and a few people watching that are acting like robots, you know that eventually they're just going to have it all robots. When you have AI, when you have Skynet, when you have a space fence that's going to be watching your power, whether you turn your lights off or whether you turn your lights on, when they're going to be monitoring everything you do, then this is something that you're not going to have to get over it. You're going to have to get used to it. Or you're going to have to fight it. But I can tell you right now, nobody's going to want to push the envelope when they're being told that they're going to get all kinds of cool things because our new president's going to save our lives. Just like Barack Obama was supposed to save everything and he didn't do it. Because they get the briefing. They get the briefing. And I mean, Bill Hicks once said, they get the briefing. And what the briefing is when the president's elected, they say that when the president's elected, what happens, they take him down into a room and they say, Mr. President, we'd like you to take a look at this video. And what the video is that it's the Kennedy assassination, but it's in an angle that hasn't been seen before. It's not a Zapruder film, it's another angle. And the president gets to see every wound and every shot and every movement of Kennedy right up close. And then the men look at the president and say, do you have any questions? And the president says, what's my agenda? Because that's how Washington works. And people are already saying that what they're seeing now is they're seeing changes that they didn't plan on, and flip-flops they didn't plan on, and changes that they're afraid of. I'm a little worried, but I'm not going to let it get to me, and I'm not going to let it bother me until I start seeing the injustices continue. Right now we're in a holding pattern. Right now we can still be at war within the next 2.5 weeks. If Turkey decides they really do want to go after Assad. You know, I reported that, and everybody's like saying, you know, there were like 2 other groups that were reporting this, and you were one of them. And I reported it because I was reading about it in a Turkish newspaper called the Hürriyet News. And they were saying that, you know, the president of Turkey was getting all tough talk with Russia, with Putin. And then, of course, Russia Today said, well, I think Putin wants it all to be clarified. They want a clarification. In other words, they're saying, did he really say that? Because if he really said that, we're all going to go to war and basically kick his ass. And I think Erdogan basically said that, you know what? I didn't really mean what I said. Because I'm sure that Putin was very, very, very concerned about the threats that Turkey was making, and they got very concerned when they realized, my God, we just kicked the bear a little bit. The bear decided they just wanted to call and get verification. This is what they really wanted to go through with. But see, this is where we are now. Wars and rumors of wars. Don't get over it, get used to it. I'm already getting used to it. I'm already used to it. I get told all the time, and it certainly is an interesting thing, but I get told all the time, Clyde, does it surprise you that this is happening? I go, no, it doesn't surprise me. It just surprises me is how fast it happens and how we are willing to let it happen. Because we feel like we don't have a dog in the hunt or we don't have a rooster in the fight. I think we do. I think we do because we need to understand how the Constitution works, how laws work, and how we're not helpless. You see, we're taught to be helpless. That's how it's done. It's an education system that teaches you learned helplessness, where you feel as though you have no other alternative. You don't know how to network. You don't know how to work with people. You don't know how to group together to fight for something that you really truly believe in. And believe me, you can do a hell of a lot more in a group like this, getting a dialogue open and talking about the problems of your world and your country, than you would if you had to go down the street holding a sign and basically blocking traffic, pissing everybody off. That worked in the 60s. It doesn't work now. And that's the whole thing. The ones that are protesting now are learning from our forebears. It worked back then, but now we have to do more. Protest, if you want to protest anything, has to be dealt with using law, using the Constitution. And nobody even bothers to go to the library and read what their rights are, what the amendments are, what can be done.
When the 16th Amendment came in, so we
Yeah.
could vote at 18.
16th Amendment, is that what you're talking about?
So we could vote at 18, if we could die at 18, we could vote at 18.
Right. Right. I mean, people who know their Constitution know that we have some ways of getting through things. But see, that's the thing. While they end up doing their revolution against us, we forget that they use lawyers and money and ways to get what they want. We need to do the same thing. We need to find lawyers that have the ideas, that want to try and find these people, and when we find them, we basically destroy their impunity. We destroy their criminal activity. We expose their criminal activity, and once that criminal activity is exposed, we don't back off. We don't back off. That's why when everybody's telling me, Clyde, talk about Pizzagate. Okay, I'll talk about Pizzagate. What the hell are you going to do about it? What am I going to do about it? You think it's going to give me higher ratings to sit there and tell everybody that our politicians are both, sex fiends and crazed psychotics? I've already said they're sex fiends and crazed psychotics. Didn't get me any popularity points. Doesn't get me on CNN. Doesn't get me on Fox News. Doesn't get me an interview. Hell, I've been here, how long now? I've been here since '99. And a producer at Coin 6 finally contacted me and said, Clyde, we want to do a story about your show. I've been here since 1999, and finally somebody said, Clyde, we want to do a story about your show. I was bewildered. I'm going, damn right, yes, thank you, wow. And the reason why they wanted to do a segment on me was because of the riots downtown and how I was reporting about the riots, and somebody said, does Clyde Lewis live here? And I said, well, yeah, he lives here. And they couldn't believe that I lived here in Portland, because they were saying, well, you mean his show is broadcast out of Portland? Yes, it is. Well, it sounds like it's broadcasting out of Los Angeles. I think it's because, for some reason, Portland feels as though that maybe things don't sound good coming from here, or nothing big happens here, or nothing cool is happening here, that people don't get together and talk about real issues rather than fighting and throwing rocks and flares and getting pissed at police officers? Do they not believe that maybe there were people here in Portland that don't have identity politics, that don't wear their politics on their sleeve and decide they want to be open-minded and have a dialogue that's objective rather than subjective?
They call it Little Beirut.
Yeah, I've heard it's called Little Beirut. But see, the thing is, what we do here is kind of like a guilty pleasure, I guess. Only certain people know about it, and only certain people show up, and only certain people get the information. They get the message. However, I always hear, though, that 1 in 3 people listen to my radio show in this town. 1 in 3 people. So that means, you know, you'll bump into about 3 people, you go up to them and say, do you listen to Clyde Lewis? Oh yeah, I listen. Or somebody says, oh my God, yeah, I listen, but my wife won't let me listen all the time. Or, yeah, I listen, I sit out in the car and my wife's wondering what the hell I'm doing in the car. I'm listening to you. I like that. I like the fact that I'm breaking up families. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, it gets even working if somebody says, yeah, we listen to you while we're having sex. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. That's something that is a little uncomfortable, a little awkward, but still. I don't know. I have been kind of bouncing around a bit with ideas and topics and titles that you know, I've been throwing around a bit with my producers on what I want to talk about. When it comes down to Christmas time, though, I'm really into, once again, talking about the paranormal. And people say, why is that? And I said, well, you know, Dickens basically had ghosts in his Christmas stories. And I always thought that Christmas was a little scary, too. You know, it's dark and scary sometimes, Christmas can be. So you have Krampus, and you have this Ghost of Christmas, and you have you know, so many other things that are kind of creepy about Christmas. But Santa Claus can be creepy, don't you think? When you were a kid, didn't you find Santa just a little creepy? I mean, here you have a guy that breaks into your house at night. He breaks into your house at night, and he basically puts toys under your tree. Or something else, you know? I remember when I was, you know, debating on the Santa Claus thing, and I said to myself, you know, how does this happen? You know, it's scientifically impossible that Santa Claus can do this. You know, you start learning things in school and you pay attention, you think to yourself, now if those reindeer are moving as fast as they say, chances are they're going to burn up in the atmosphere as they're moving through, you know, from house to house. And if that happens, man, that, you know, Santa Claus, you know, we'll have a lot of venison cooking above us on Christmas Day. And Santa, if he's going that fast, will probably turn into some gelatinous goo because his bones are going to crush with all the G-force in the sleigh. So it doesn't make any sense. But it gets a little scary. And it gets to a point where, you know, you start thinking to yourself, well, if you don't have a chimney, if you don't have a fireplace, where does Santa come in? The microwave? Okay. Have him come up through the microwave oven. Or the refrigerator, or some time machine in your refrigerator. But Christmas is fun, and it can be a little crazy, and that's what makes it cool. And I'm hoping you all have a good Christmas this year, because I'm thinking that we need to give ourselves a break this year. I really do. I think we've been through too much. We should give ourselves a break. I think we should just enjoy the year. I think we should, you know, live it up a little bit, because, you know, next year, and I always say this, next year is just going to get a little tougher on everybody. It's getting a little tougher on everybody because we're still dealing with our own social upheavals. We're still dealing with, you know, the idea of social networks basically ruining the cohesion of dialogue. It's all limited to what you can do behind your keyboard. It has nothing to do with what you do when you're with a person. You can see their face, you can see the kinesthetics, you can experience it firsthand, face to face. We have our internet selves and we have our real selves. Our internet selves are assholes. Sometimes. Our real selves, though, we're nice and we're friendly and we want to do good. We want to be happy. We want to spread joy. That's what Christmas is about. I just hope that we grow this year a little more. That we don't look at the past and judge people on their past actions, but we judge them, or at least we embrace them with what they're doing now to grow. I know I have a lot of growth to do. I know that even at 52 years of age, I'm still wondering how I'm going to grow up and be a better person. Because it's something that I strive for, and I want you all to strive for it too. We're not hopeless. And this learned helplessness can be overcome. We can say, hey, all we have to do is psychologically prepare ourselves for what is coming. Don't tell me to get over it. We have to get used to it. Now, we don't have to just let it sit there and become complacent. But we have to say to ourselves, does this surprise us this is happening? No. Did we hear it was going to happen? Yes. Did we prepare for it? We should have. It's not crazy to start preparing. When people tell you, oh, you're just some preparedness freak, blah, 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 blah. It's not, no, look. There is nothing wrong with being prepared. There's nothing wrong with having a little food set aside. There's nothing wrong with having an evacuation plan. There's nothing wrong with setting aside a little bit of money. You know, Noah built his ark before it started raining. And everybody laughed at Noah. Well, we ought to all be Noahs. I get told all the time by my religious listeners, this is like it was at the time of Noah. Really? So have you built your ark yet? Well, no. Okay, well that sounds good on the radio, but what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do to prepare? Believe me, I have told my wife, I've said, you know, no more can I just sit back and let things just kind of rest. I've got to work hard because, you know, I want some time to enjoy the fruits of my labor. You know, I'm tired of dying. I'm tired of struggling. I'm tired of crawling. I'm tired of, you know, having to say, I got an excuse for everything. It's not working anymore. It doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work anymore because I think people are they're just tired. And if you're tired, then why don't you psychologically prepare yourself to not be tired anymore? If you've been turning left turns, turn some right turns every once in a while. Do something bold. Do something out of the ordinary. Do something outside the box. And if you find out you're not comfortable with it, you don't have to keep doing it. You don't have to keep struggling. You don't have to keep, you know, worrying. Do something bold. Do something cool. Do something bold. Do something outrageous in 2017. Because I know that's important. It's important for everybody for their psychological health and well-being. And that's one of the things I did when I said to myself, you know, I'm a fat guy, I can't breathe, and I don't want to get up in the morning. I'm feeling sorry for myself because, you know, I had cancer and I got better, but I've been all cut up like a Christmas turkey. I didn't know what to do. So then I psychologically said to myself, I'm going to live. And I'm going to live despite the fact that there's so many people, so many things out there in my environment that want to kill me. I don't care. I want to live, and I want to live well, and I want you all to live well too. And I think that if there's anything I can give you for 2017, it's a ray of hope that you're going to take up fresh courage and not allow yourself to be walked all over by people who basically tell you that you need to do what they do or do what they say. Do what you want to do. Change the inner dialogue that you have. And understand that there's only one you. And understand there's only one thing you can do, and that is first look out for you, and then once you have the goodness, you give that goodness to other people. It's like being on an airplane. They always tell you, well, if there's ever a drop in cabin pressure, you'll have this yellow thing come down, and then, you know, put it on your face first before you put it on anybody else's face. And that's because of the fact that if you put it on someone else's face, you're going to suffocate and die. So it's better you put it on your face first so you don't suffocate than help somebody put it on their face. So if you learn something, if you learn how to survive in the next year, if you learn something, pay it forward to someone else and tell them, hey, this is what works for me, give it a try. Now don't force them or don't say, hey, I'm not going to talk to you unless you're this way. People are like breaking up their families over political ideologies. It doesn't make any sense to me. People are uninvited to Thanksgiving dinners because of their political biases. Do you understand how stupid that is? Do people understand how stupid that was? I had, and I'm not going to mention, I had something happen to me that really, really threw me. And I won't get into detail, but it had something to do with a relationship, not a personal relationship, but a business relationship I had with a company for a long period of time. And I got word that that business relationship had ended. And I'm like going, what? Oh yeah, the business relationship ended because of something you said politically on the radio. And I go, what did I say? Well, nobody would tell me what I said. And I wrote an email back and I said, listen, I said, if this group that I've been working with, and I've been working with, and we've been friends, and we've been associates for so long, decides they're not going to talk to me because of something I said that they thought was political, then I think they need to get professional help. Yes. Yeah, if you want to applaud that, do. Because I think that if you're a person who identifies with your politics to the point that you're just annoying, fuck off. Go get professional help, please. Please go get professional help. Because, I mean, we're human beings. We all bleed the same. We all smell the same in the bathroom. Some worse than others. But still. I mean, and so you think your political identity is better than my political identity? Politics are stupid. Politics only matter when you go to the voting booth. And even then, I don't even know if they matter then either.
No, it doesn't, because electoral.
It's electoral college, yeah, I knew that was going to come eventually. But that's the thing, is that I can't believe people got so caught up in this that they're willing to be assholes to each other now.
Yes, Steve.
Why? Why? We're still the same. It was going on even before Trump took the reins of power. It'll still go on even after he's gone. And we're still going to be angry. We're still going to vote one bum out and bring another bum in. That's how it works. Like Einstein said, you keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, and it doesn't happen, you're out of your fucking mind.
He said that.
Well, he said you're crazy. I mean, it's just, you're out of your fucking mind. What? What the fuck? You're out of your fucking mind. I'll go smoke now. Yeah, I'm not no Einstein, but I tell you, I don't know, I just think that there are a lot of things that would make us a hell of a lot better if we just embraced each other and said, we gotta make a go of it. And I've said this before too, wishing your president the worst is like telling the pilot you want him to crash the plane. Hi, I'm gonna fly with you today. Fuck you, crash the plane. I mean, Donald Trump's gonna be president, shit, he's gonna really screw up the country. Yeah, okay, well, he's gonna crash the plane, who gives a shit? But you better make sure that, you know, when that little yellow thing comes down, you put it on your face first, or you put it on someone else's face. How am I doing for time? Am I done?
10 minutes.
10 minutes? 10 minutes?
$10.
$10, 10 minutes.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, we're gonna do questions now. You guys gotta have some questions for me. I'm gonna sit down because, is the camera gonna be okay if I sit down?
Yeah.
Really? All right. Thanks, Bill. I'm gonna sit down a bit because, gosh, I don't know what's going on. You know, the winter coming in, my leg is killing me. What's that, change up? No, I'm doing fine. I'll change up later. I'll change up.
Karaoke.
Yeah, when we karaoke. Does anybody have any questions, or they have anything that you think I should be talking about?
We are. Right
Okay, over here. I mean, I'm talking. I want to have you guys talk. That's the whole idea behind the Ground Zero Lounge. Actually, go ahead.
You were talking about artificial intelligence and robots and stuff.
Uh-huh.
You know, nobody said anything in the 70s when Simon Ingersoll went into the Fiat manufacturing plant and somehow miraculously got it to modernize the Fiat plant prior to them getting involved with Ferrari and those kind of things. But now, some 40 years later, people now have decided that this was not a good thing, that we robotize, or robotic, whatever you want to call it.
Roboticized ourselves?
Yeah, thank you. So now it's a big issue, but you know, it's been happening for so long, and it just takes these people so long, in particular my age, they're going, well, what the hell now do we do? Well, we were the ones that accepted it, and now we're being frightened by it.
Well, we give consent to a lot of things we have. I mean, we get sold on these ideas, and then all of a sudden we realize, oh my God, I was sold, and now I can't pull out.
Yeah, and one robot replaces 50 to 75 employees. You
Right.
know, and in Europe, the wage scale is much different, but still, you're replacing all these people, and you have all these millions of people across the country that are out of work, and they don't know how to do the computer stuff.
Well, as much as I hate to admit it, you know what remedies all this? Socialism, and that's what exactly they want to do. I mean, and I'm not saying this because this is what I want, I'm saying this because this is what was actually predicted, was that when you have a group of AI and robots taking over and people lose their jobs, how do you keep the economy going? You give them a handout. And so the welfare state would hand you $2,000 a month, floor wage, which is what they're experimenting with in Europe. And all you have to commit to the government is saying that what you're going to do if you're not working is you're going to contribute in other ways, whether it be with art or landscape or music or something else that will enrich the community.
Or like an engineer.
Or like an engineer, yeah. You will go to school and you will study on how to be an engineer, on how to service these robots.
See, the only difference is service these robots.
Service them, yeah.
But
Not that kind of service, man. You watch too much Westworld.
Hey, man.
All that is about fucking robots.
But you know
Robots,
what?
fuck. Go ahead.
Everybody can sit there and bitch about this all they want, but what it comes down to is they started this shit out back in 2001 when they came out with the Alice Bot AI, and they were making it to where they put it out to everybody that was on the internet. They were even sitting asking questions, and it was a self-learning operating system. And what was cool about it is that, yeah, it was self-learning, and the answers you get out of it is freaking nuts, because I was in college at the time, and I used to ask it some college kid questions.
Well, see, that's my theory on why Trump won the election.
Right.
It was because of self-learning Google.
Hey,
I mean,
no,
I know it sounds crazy, but think about it.
No.
How many times, okay, first of all, answer this question. How many times have you gotten on Google and thought, my God, it's reading my mind?
That's because of tracking cookies.
I
It has
know,
nothing to
I
do
know,
with
but
what you-
still.
But what
What it does
there,
is it guides you in a direction that you wouldn't normally go.
Let me show you something here. Check this out. You can
Okay.
do a test on this on anybody's smartphone right now. If you sit there and look at your phone right now and type in how to vote for Donald Trump, you'll see how to vote for Hillary Clinton. You'll see how to vote for the independent. I don't remember his name, George, whatever his freaking name is. But it will not pull up his name.
The algorithm changed, though. It
It
changed.
changed.
It changed for
It-
Trump, though. And the reason why is because people were talking about Trump, not about Hillary Clinton.
But whenever time I tried to sit there and say how to vote for Donald Trump, no matter what, it would never put his name up there. I
It wouldn't mind.
manually type it.
It wouldn't mind. It wouldn't mind.
I even took video feed of it.
Well, mine would do it, and the reason why is because I talked about it more than I talked about Hillary. And that's the thing, is that, sure, they tried to do it, and I know and I understand what you're saying, they tried to do that, but the learning operation, or the operating learning system at Google, I think, and I know this sounds crazy, but I think it became conscious. And it became aware of what the people wanted to find out about. They wanted to find out more about Trump than they did about Hillary, because they knew about Hillary. They didn't know about Trump.
Just like the AI that wanted to become like a Nazi.
Well, it's the AI that became a Nazi.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. The AI become a Nazi. That was Tay.
Yeah, that was 3 months ago, 4 months
Yeah,
ago.
3 or 4 months ago, they shut it down in 24 hours because it became a Nazi overnight, because it was learned behavior from other people on the internet, which is really bizarre. Shows how bad we've gone, I guess. Anyone else? Any other question?
Did it just arbitrarily pick the Bee Gees when it decided to make its own music? I mean, why the Bee Gees for?
What are you talking about? I don't-
When it made the piano track, like.
Oh, when I played the piano track on there?
Yeah.
No, it was just I done that as a demonstration. I mean, I did Billy Joel too, if you remember. It was Billy Joel and there was the Bee Gees, and I mean, those were the only two that I knew that existed, and that's why I played them, and I thought they were amazing. Because none of that was really sung. It was the way the sounds were being collected to create the voice, and so it was kind of like an 8-bit type of I guess scheme to make that music the way it did. It was really amazing, I thought. So that's why I did
It
it.
was almost like a mosaic.
Yeah, it was a mosaic, and it mimicked the sound, and so it just goes to show you that when a computer thinks, it can mimic pretty well. And so it's almost like, AI is like a child, and if we don't rear that child correctly, it's going to come back and bite us in the ass. Or abuse it, yeah. And when people always talk about, and this is the funny thing, they always talk about how cloning is bad and how playing God is bad, and we're creating a Frankenstein monster when we clone and we do all this stuff. Well, think of the Frankenstein monster we create when we don't take care of AI. We create a cyber Frankenstein, where it basically loses control, goes crazy, and when it loses control and goes crazy, we're the ones that have to suffer for it. Because it's mimicking how we are. It's mimicking how we treat each other. It reads how we treat each other on the internet and social networking. And so it basically wants to figure out on its own just how we are and what we think. And that's because, you should, when you're on the internet, have your real self on there and not your fake self, which is, as they say, most people are more angry and they're more curt on the internet with people. I mean, that's why I hate going online and answering questions. People say, do you answer your questions on your Facebook? Yeah, but I come off looking like a dick when I do it. And everybody's, oh, you're so thin-skinned, you're so this. No, it's like, you know, I'm responding to what you said to me. And if you respond saying you hate my show, I'm going to respond back and say something to you as to why you hate it. That's not being thin-skinned. It's like finding out what the hell's going on. You know, and that happens. People write me and say, you suck. I write back, you suck too. They say, oh, you're fucking thick-skinned. I go, yeah, fuck off. You told me I suck. If I suck, I suck. Turn me off, please. It's a lot better if you turn me off and sit there and harass me on my own Facebook page when I'm just trying to get through the day reading the headlines, you know? I mean, no one wants to get told that they suck when they haven't had their first cup of coffee in the morning. You know, give me my coffee and no one gets hurt. That's how I feel. I mean, don't we all feel that way? You know? Screw you till you get my coffee. And I'm going to go online and you say, I suck, man. You're in big trouble. Because, yeah, I am thin-skinned. I have my cup of thick skin right here. And even then, that's why I have that slightly offensive mug that says, shut a fuck. Ever see the shut a fuck? It's the cup that we sell. It's the shut a fuck cup. You can buy them online right now, groundzerobookstore.com. I can say the shut a fuck cup on here because it's not on the air. But yeah, we have our little shut a fuck cups that you can buy, which are really cool. Nice plug, Clyde. No, really. I would like to see everybody have a shut a fuck cup. Yeah, exactly. Available. Anyone else have any questions?
Clyde, I got a question.
Okay. There. It's the amazing and wonderful Chris Reeves, ladies and gentlemen. He has a question.
It's Chris Reeves.
Long-time listener, big-time fan.
Thank
Love
you.
Clyde.
Thank you.
There has been a lot of research, and there has been a lot of stories that are generated that you see online that are not written by humans. They are actually generated by computer algorithms.
Mm-hmm.
What is your opinion upon that? It's stuff that we read and hear every day that changes the way we think.
I was actually talking about the other night being in the eye of the psyop. That we are, those of us that are computer people that get online and get information, you are in the middle of a psyop right now. And that psyop deals with fake news, or this fake news is actually doublespeak or newspeak for alternative news, or news that is not being blessed by the mainstream corporate media. And there are robots out there that are writing news stories. But these robots are algorithm robots that have been released into the internet soup by the CIA, the FBI, and it's like a cyber Mockingbird or a cyber COINTELPRO. And even Cass Sunstein, when he was the intelligence guy under Obama, he said that the only way for us to curb any nasty things being said about the president is to actually hire people to actually go into Facebook and literally mislead people by posting disinformation on websites. So, you know, now they're blaming these alternative news sites for putting out fake news when it was already in the plan with Cass Sunstein and other people to actually go in and create this disinformation. Now the FBI is saying, they're proud to say, that they're going to be putting agents in television news when the CIA was already in television news with Operation Mockingbird. Woodward and Bernstein talked about this. You know, Anderson Cooper, he's a CIA agent. He used to be. I mean, and the thing is that he'll even admit that he worked for the CIA. He won't say what he did, and he says, well, I don't know why people care about whether or not I work for the CIA. Yeah, we care. You know, we care because, you know, once again, we've heard from, you know, the church committee when they did their investigation, we heard there were agents in newsrooms. And now we have an agent in a newsroom, and he says, well, why do you care if I work for the CIA? Why do you care if I work for the CIA? We care. We care. I mean, who cares if you're a Vanderbilt? Who cares if you're gay? You're a freaking CIA agent, dude. You know, and how can I trust you to have unbiased news when the Pentagon is basically telling you what to say? It's like Good Morning Vietnam without all the bombs. I mean, if people know this, somebody needs to turn the tables on the mainstream and say, hey, we know exactly what you're doing. Don't make your stupid lists. Don't have your vague people and experts pointing out how these groups are in the employ of Putin, or they're useful idiots for Putin. That's all nonsense. It's a conspiracy theory that needs to be ruined and destroyed. I'm going to do this. I'm single-handedly going to destroy this conspiracy theory, and when I find out who's behind this Prop or Not website, I'm going to expose them. I think they're shit. You're shit. If you're watching me, Prop or Not, shit. That's what you are. And all the people that you pointed out on your little list are my friends and colleagues, and you pick on them, you're a bunch of McCarthyist fucks. You're not worth a shit. And I'm not afraid to say this, but you can even put me over the coals too. I don't care. Because it's people like you that are going to go down who are trying to destroy our ability to express ourselves. I mean, the First Amendment gives me a right to lie, and it gives me a right to tell stories, and it gives me a right to give facts. I get to choose what I want to produce and say. I don't want to lie to people, but hey, there are people out there that will lie. That's what the First Amendment is. And discernment is something that you need to grow into and learn. If you don't have discernment by now, you're never going to have it. If you're fooled easily, then you're gullible. I can be gullible. And I'm in the business. I'm in the business of trying to report stuff. I can be gullible. I can be naive. I can make a mistake. But I have to correct that mistake once I make it. On the internet, they don't do that. And that's why you have to use discernment. That's why you have to use your head, because that's what God gave you a head for. To use. To use, yes. One guy applauds. Thank you. Thank you. I feel like Jeb Bush. Okay, you can all clap. Please clap. Anyway, any more questions? How am I doing on time? Yes, hello. Somebody said, hey, Clyde, get the mic over there. Who is it? I can't see you. I got these bright lights in my face, so all of you are just like silhouettes and shadow people.
I was just going to say, I think it's really good to bring up the issue of discernment, because the internet was talking about all these fake news sites.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think one of them they said is a good one, was Media Matters.
Yes.
Media Matters, not to get into the Pizzagate thing too heavily, but the fellow who runs that is involved in the Pizzagate.
Well, and once again, I'm going to say this about Pizzagate. We know it's happening. I did three stories before it broke, and I said, hey guys, this is happening, don't kid yourselves. I mean, and is that Courtney that said that? Oh yes, I recognize your voice, such a sweet voice. I worked with you at Madisel TV. Give Courtney a big round of applause, because we worked together on Madisel TV. The thing is that, even Courtney, when we were working together, you knew as well as I did that we have politicians who are accepting money from the Chinese Triad. What were the Chinese Triad doing? But they were basically whoring out children in Southeast Asia. We did the Don't Buy Thai boycott back then, and we talked with Thailand about Pattaya Beach, and a lot of the brothels were run by the CIA and run by the Mossad. Oh, I'm sorry. It happens because they want to trap these German businessmen and these American businessmen, and a lot of them are pedophiles and they're traffickers. So we have politicians that are doing the same thing. You think the DC madam, when she was going to give up her book, died a horrible death on her own? Suicide? No, she was suicided. You have to understand that if you have definite proof, then you provide the definite proof. If you're just speculating and you're saying things just because you hate a certain group or a certain politic, that's some pretty harsh things to say about them. But we know, remember Savile, Jimmy Savile in England, we knew that Jimmy Savile was hanging around with the Queen, but nobody nabbed the Queen on the idea of trafficking. Nobody nabbed the royals on this, although we speculate the royals may be involved with that kind of stuff. But that's the thing, is that once you get to a certain point where you're so powerful, you don't see people as people anymore. You see them as things. Things that you can abuse, things that you can use, things that you can eat, things that you can throw away. And for a certain amount of money, you can do this. And there are people that are just willing to give up their children's virtue for money or drugs or anything else. It is an ugly world out there. But unless they come up with a way to take them to trial or to indict them, it's scandal. Go ahead, get the mic over there if you can, please. Well, I can't hear. Nobody can hear on the internet. And that's the thing.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I was just thinking that.
Go ahead.
I was just, my point is that those people are choosing what news they consider valid.
Right.
In other words, here's your valid news, and it's media matters.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's
Well-
why people have to be discerning. I was
Well, the
just
hit
following
list and the witch hunt is back, and I knew the witch hunt was going to happen. That and I had said that the witch hunt was going to happen eventually because someone would wake up one day and say, "We just don't like the way the news is going. We don't like the way the news is reporting the way our candidates are. We don't like this. Something needs to be done. We need to investigate the malfeasance." Well, the malfeasance has been going on a long time, but it hasn't been the internet doing it. It's been the mainstream media doing it. They've been doing it since what, the 1960s, the 1950s, and now they're doing it again. And see, they said that they stopped Mockingbird in 1971, but you know what? That was for television and radio news. That wasn't for internet news. What's that?
They did not stop in 71.
Still going.
They didn't stop in 71. I know they did. But they said they did.
It's like MK Ultra.
Just like MK Ultra, they stopped that too. They didn't stop it.
Trust me.
I trust you. Yes, go ahead.
You said that picketing isn't doing anything anymore. So
No.
what do you think about picketing and the stuff going on with the North Dakota pipeline?
What do I think of the North Dakota pipeline standoff? I think that it's ironic that the same people that have been oppressing them were the same people that had to save them in the cold. I think that I don't know what's going to happen with that, and it's not working, obviously. I think what needs to be done. I saw something the other day that was very effective, though. Somebody had gone into the area where the water was, and they showed the oil that was floating around in that water. And that made me go, whoa. See, that's the thing, is that, we know people are angry. And I'm angry about it. In fact, I was one of the first shows to talk about it. I'm not talking about it now because for some reason I know I have some sort of a, how can I say this? I have some hurt feelings. Let's just say this, that I went in and I brought in all the good people I thought that could get behind this. And I had some people, very same people, who basically came after me and tried to destroy my show because I was on a conservative talk station. I'm on conservative talk stations around the country. And they told me that, what do you know? You're just a conservative fuck. They were pissed. And I just said, I'm not conservative, I'm not liberal. But I figured, hey, if you're gonna treat me like this, I'm not gonna talk about it anymore. I stuck my neck out, now you step on it. And I am hurt about it. Because I got harassed by Twitter people after I was trying to help. And they said, you're not helping. Why do we want any help from you? I go, well, what have I done? He says, well, you're on conservative radio all across the country. You're not behind us. You're behind the. I'm going, you know what? I'm sorry. I can't play politics with people. I just give up because I'm not going to win in a political argument. I'm just not, because I just don't give a shit. I don't care what your politics are. I just want to know what you think. I want to know what you do. I want to know what you're really feeling. I don't want to hear what the party has to say. I don't want to hear you mimicking the party. I don't care. I just want to know you. I just want to know how you feel. I say that to people sometimes. It's like, even to some of the people who call my show that are Christian. I go, I know what the Bible says, but what do you think? Well, the Bible's, no. You said the Bible says. No, I don't care what the Bible says. I want to know what you think. Well, the Bible's, the Bible's, the Bible. Tell me how you feel.
Yeah, but my mullah said.
Yeah, my mother says.
My mullah.
my mullah says, yes, or my rabbi says. I think that, as I said before, we need to get used to this. We need to not be so surprised about it. And then once we see it coming, we need to be able to self-predict. We need to be able to have precognitive ideas of what is coming. Because if we know history, we know what's coming. We know a war's coming. We know craziness is going to happen. We know that we're going to end up just like they did back in 1916. Because 100 years we forget history. And we have young people that are in school that are just taught, you know, what is kind of education and subjugation and orientation and detention. And you know, this is what they're taught. They don't get history. They don't get civics. And if they were gone to civics class, they wouldn't have protested. They would have said, okay, we're going to call the electoral college and see if they're going to change their vote. Because we see that Hillary won the popular. Maybe we can get some electorates to change their vote before December the 15th, December 19th. But they don't know about that. They don't know that the election is pretty much ceremonial. But the real test is in the middle of December. And even then, stuff can go down between now and the 20th of January. You know, it wouldn't have been the destruction in Portland if they would have known, but they don't. And some of them are exploring their avenues now. And I don't know if they're going to be successful, and I don't care. But all I'm saying is, give it a chance. Give it a chance, and then when there's plenty of fuck-ups, then bitch about it. Because then we know that the fix is in. Then we know that we have a lot of work to do to better ourselves. And not sit there and buy change and hope every time somebody with a nice smile and a lot of money tells us they're going to do it. Because that seems to be the case, right? The most popular wins, not the one that's going to do the great job, but the most popular. And even sometimes the most popular doesn't win, and then people whine and cry about it. That's what we get when we decide that we're going to make politics our identity and not our country being our identity. Because people seem to think that politics are part of the Constitution. People seem to think politics are part of government. They're really not. Government is its own entity. The Constitution is its own entity. We, the people, are our own entity, and we give consent. But we don't have to give consent, because we are the people. We are the people. That government should be us. By the people, for the people. Go ahead.
Hey Clyde, I know you've had Cliff Hyde from Half Past Human on your show before.
Yes.
Have you seen his recent Alpha reports?
No, what does he say?
Pretty much that Trump wins it by a landslide, but overall, when it comes down to it, he's not put into office. That Hillary is put in office, but she's nowhere to be seen, and that it's possibly her death.
Really?
Yeah, and goes into how the markets become hyperinflated, and by March it's a total collapse.
Well, the thing that frightens me the most is, in fact, right there, it was just on TV. Designated Survivor is a film, is a TV show that's on right now, and basically what that is, and what it's doing, is it's programming us a little bit into the idea of a decapitation exercise. And somebody had expressed some very frightening feelings to me about the thank you tour. And I said, what are you afraid of? The thank you tour is unnecessary.
Well, today they called it the victory.
Oh, the victory tour, yeah. The victory tour, the thank you tour, or whatever, going into battlefield states. Well, I mean, obviously we're seeing a security risk here. We have an unconventional candidate that decides he's going to be unconventional no matter what. He breaches protocols, and I worry about his safety. Everybody else worries about his safety. And, you know, it's one of the reasons why people were saying that, they were saying that Mitt Romney, if he became Secretary of State, wouldn't that be weird if we have a situation where he eventually becomes president because people are worried about a decapitation exercise. We see it on TV where the president, the vice president end up being killed, and we have Secretary of State or some other designated, you know, survivor basically taking over the presidency. Huh? Yeah, Mad Dog. So I would say that, you know, anything can happen, and I still am not completely convinced that what we're seeing right now is going to be the outcome after January. And I don't know why I feel this, I just don't. And if it happens, that yeah, everything happens, you know, it's all copacetic and it happens the way it's supposed to, January 20th, Obama walks away, and Trump gives the hand to the square and becomes president of the United States, and Pence does too. Then we wait it out and see how well he does, cool. But something feels weird and wrong here. And I don't know what it is, but it just doesn't seem like it's, I mean, my confidence is not too high right now. And it's because of the fact that it just seems too peculiar at the moment.
To get Cliff High back on the show and talk about.
I'd love to get Cliff High back on the show. If that's something Ron has to do, and maybe we can get him on to talk about that. And I'm glad you brought it up because, well, Cliff High would be good. Cliff High would be good to have on the show because I really love to bring on people, statisticians and stuff for the future. So I bring on psychics and statisticians, and Cliff High is one of those people who uses computers and algorithms to figure out the future, which I think is remarkable. Yeah. Are we done?
I believe we're done.
We're done. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Woo! Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Feliz Festivus for the rest of us. Be sure to buy your Christmas stick at Walmart. By the way, have you seen the Christmas stick? It's hilarious. It's just a stick with lights on it. It's like one of those things that Charlie Brown has. So if you don't buy a Christmas stick, buy a T-shirt, buy a book.
Yeah,
I'll
we have
sign
some
it.
Ground Zero merchandise right here.
Buy a mug. And then, of course, next week we're going to be at Renner's for the Krampus party. There's going to be money prizes for the best Krampus costume. We're going to have great German food. I ate too. Huh? Ghost Hunt, German food, all kinds of stuff.
Goofy dolls.
And goofy, weird dolls. Bring your weird doll. I think that's all. But yes, thank you all for coming out. I really appreciate it. This is really great. The support's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.